So we have a nice standing workout today to do. Okay, so we're going to check our alignment first of all. If you can bring your feet to hip width distance apart, if you're unsure how wide your hips are, try putting your two fists together and then bring your feet to that width apart so you can fit your two fists in between your feet. Good, then moving up the legs, we try not to lock out the knees, so try not to throw the knees back, just allow a little bit of softness in the knees. And then move up to your hips and your pelvis. And we're going to do these two extreme tilts of the pelvis. Okay, so completely tilting one way and completely tilting the other. Then we rest in the middle of those two extremes. This is neutral pelvis in the standing position. So this gives you this nice natural curve down at the bottom of your spine. Then let's move up to the shoulders, lift the shoulders up to the ears, slide them back and drop them down. So now your arms are hanging nice and loosely by the side of your body. Now we'll do a couple of breaths before we start into the movement, just to get us into the Pilates way of breathing and sort of center ourselves and get focused for the workout ahead. So as always, you can, if you want, put your hands onto your ribs with the middle fingers lightly touching. Now breathe in through the nose if possible. Feel the ribs expand as your lungs fill with air, and then as you breathe out, we close the ribs back together and start thinking about our lower abdominals on the out breath. So breathe in, fill the lungs, relax the belly. And breathe out, tighten in the belly and empty the lungs, closing the ribs back in. Just two more nice big deep breaths like that. Breathing in through the nose where possible and out through the mouth. Last one, breathing in and breathing out. Perfect. Now let's start into some nice rolls backwards of our shoulders. And then we're going to bring it into full arm circles. So as you breathe in, let's lift the arms up towards the ceiling. And then as you breathe out, we circle the arms back, bringing them round behind that midline of your body. So you get a nice squeeze together of the shoulder blades and your back as you bring the arms down. And a nice stretch across the front of your chest. Breathing all the time. If you're doing this first thing in the morning, it's a lovely way to stretch and get ready for the day. Go as slow as you want, really extending up through the fingertips, keeping the arms nice and long. Good, now we're going to add in a little gentle twist, so breathe in on the way up. And then as you breathe out, just twist your torso, twist your body over to one side and then lower the arms down. Come back to the center, breathe in, reach up, and then twist your body with nice floppy knees and feet. So you're allowing the heel to lift up off the floor. So there's no nasty twisting on your knee joints. Breathe out as you bring the arms down. Back to the center, breathe in, reach up, little twist over to the side and breathe out, bring the arms down. Good, let's do one more to each side. Back to the center, breathe in, reach up and breathe out, bringing the arms down. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to just rock backwards and forwards on our feet. So we're coming up onto our tiptoes, lift up, and then rock back, lift the toes for a second. Now you might feel like you're falling backwards a little, and that is perfectly normal because you are. So just little small movements, and this when we're doing this, we're starting to kind of waken up all of those core stabilizer muscles and challenge your balance, as well as fire up your muscles in the calves and even up into your glutes. Good, just a couple more. Now if you can, Come up onto your tiptoes and stay there. Just hold up on your tiptoes. Don't worry if you're wobbling about. And then drop down. Lift the toes, lift the heels, lift the toes, lift the heels. Constant flowing movement is the key to Pilates. You never stand still. Come back up and breathe. One more big breath, coming up as high as you can onto your toes. Good, and lower. And rock backwards and forwards again, a couple more times. Okay, good. Now just lift up your left leg up off the floor and do some nice little circles with the foot. Circles inwards and then circles outwards. Just mobilizing the ankles a little bit. Then swap over to the other foot. Circles inwards. If you need to, you can hold onto a wall or a chair or something. Don't feel that you have to stay balanced on one leg. Circle the other way. Good. Now we're going to start lifting up the knees. So if you lift up your knee, your right knee or your left knee, I have no idea about the mirroring in all of these videos. So lift your knee up so that it's level with your hip and then lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Good. And we're stepping down nice and lightly onto the mat. Toes, then heels. Keeping your back nice and upright. Good, one more on each leg. Okay, now we're going to add in a little extension of the leg. So if you lift your knee and then just extend the leg out as best you can. Bend and lower. Lift, extend, bend and lower. Lovely. Bend and lower. And again, if you feel that you need to hold on to a wall or a chair to help you balance while you're doing this, then go on ahead and do that. That's completely fine. Let's do one more on each leg. Lift, extend, bend and lower. Lift, extend, bend and lower. Lovely. Now we're going to come up and mobilize the hips a little bit. So again, lift your knee up. Start off with the knee level with your, as close to level with your hip as you can manage. And then do a nice circle outwards. Now touch down onto the floor if you need to. But otherwise, try and do a few circles outwards of the hip. Just balancing on your one leg. Hold on to something if you need to. Again, clicks and clunks, totally normal, as long as it's not causing you any discomfort. One more. Okay, swap over, let's do the other leg. Lift the knee and circle outwards. Pause and touch down in between if you need to. You might find one side is a lot more wobbly than the other. Again, totally natural. Last couple. Brilliant. Okay, good. Then just a nice kind of shake out of everything. Okay. And now we're going to mobilize the spine, okay, by trying to move it in every direction. So we're going to start off just with gentle side reaches. So you're just literally reaching down the outside of each leg as we start to move the spine in this side to side motion. Good. One more to each side, only moving to your limits. Good. Then roll the shoulders back have a nice breath in to begin with. And then as you breathe out, you're going to tuck your chin into your chest, bring your arms forwards and just roll the spine forwards into a roll down. So your knees don't need to be completely locked, but we don't want them to be really bent either. But we're not trying to stretch out the backs of the legs. What we're trying to do is mobilize the spine. So come down to wherever your furthest point is, and then slowly curl yourself back to upright, restacking the vertebra one on top of the other. Shoulders back, breath in. And then breath out, go again. When you get to your furthest position, pause, have a nice breath in, and then breathe out on the way back up. We'll do 2 more of these. Breathing out, rolling down, and if this is as far as you get, then that's fine, okay? Just go to wherever your spine allows you to go. Breathe in, shoulders back. Last one, let's go down on the out breath. A nice breath in at the bottom, and then breathe out, lift yourself back to upright. Perfect, good. Now, if you can bring the heels together and you have your toes pointing out, so your feet are in a nice V position. Now, instantly when you do this, hopefully you'll feel the inner thighs and the glutes starting to fire up and squeeze together, so that's all good. Now, what we're going to do is move the spine now in a nice twisty way. We're going to side rotation, okay? So we lift the arms up, put the hands onto opposite shoulders. But as we move the upper half, I want you to think about the lower half of your body and don't let these legs move at all. So a nice breath in. Then on your out breath, twist over to the right, but keep the hips pointing forwards. Breathe in, coming back to the center. Keep squeezing those inner thighs in towards each other. Breathe out as you twist round. Breathe in, coming back into the center. Good. A lovely gentle spine twist. So you should hopefully be feeling this across the shoulders and the upper back. But your legs are nicely anchored down into the ground with no twisting of the knees or the hips. Let's do 1 more to each side. Good, and then lower the arms down. Perfect, now bring your feet back to that hip width distance and we're going to go into some squats. So just have your toes pointing forwards to begin with. We're going to do a few different positions of the feet. So we start off nice and upright, shoulders back. Then when we go into the squat, we think about pushing the bum out behind and then bending at the knees, but keeping those knees nicely behind the toes. So rather than reaching forwards down to, or reaching down towards the ground, I want you to think about reaching to the wall in front of you. So sit down just as deep as you can manage, check in with the toe, with the knees and the toes, reaching forwards, reaching long through the fingers, and then push up, pressing down into the heels, a little squeeze of the glutes, and we bring the arms out behind to get a nice stretch across the chest. Okay, so breathe in as you sink down into your squat. And then a lovely powerful push up as you breathe out. Squeeze into the glutes, bring the arms back. Breathe in. Breathe out. Good. And again, slow this down if you need to. And don't worry if you're only going down a couple of inches, that's okay. You might want to do this with a chair or the sofa behind you for a little bit of moral support. So if you feel like you're gonna fall, then you just can and just collapse into the seat behind you. That's completely fine. Keep on breathing. Down, push up. Thinking about those glutes when you come up to stand. And really squeezing the arms together when you bring them behind your back so you get a nice stretch across the chest. Good. one more with the feet in this position. Lovely. Okay, so now we're going to bring the feet out quite wide. Okay, and then you're going to have the toes pointing out towards the two corners of your mat. Now, again, we're going to come down into the squat, but still think about these knees. So we want the knees to go out following the direction of the toes. Okay, so when you have your toes pointing out, what we don't want is the knees to come forwards. That's going to put a lot of pressure on your knee joints and not feel good. Okay, so starting off nice and tall, shoulders back, then on your breath in, bend the knees, drop the hips down towards the floor, reach forwards with the arms, and then as you breathe out, push up, a little squeeze into the glutes, and bring the arms back. Breathe in, breathe out. Good, and again, don't worry about how deep you are or aren't going. But this you might start to feel working those inner thigh muscles. Good. I have lots of little clicks in my legs when I'm doing this, so I hope you can't hear them across the video. Breathe out. Breathe in and out. Two more. Remembering if you need to stop before I stop, of course you do, okay? Brilliant. Now let's bring the feet back to that hip width apart. We're going to add in a little bit, we're going to keep going with the squats, but add in a little bit of coming up onto the tiptoes, okay? So I'll show you from a diagonal viewpoint. Okay, so feet are hip width or just slightly wider than hip width with your toes pointing forwards. Now come down into your squat with the arms reaching forwards. When we're down here, we're going to lift right heel off the floor, then lift left heel off the floor, and then push up. Good, breathe in, lift, lift, and push up. Just keep on breathing. Don't get too fixated on when you're breathing in and when you're breathing out. Just keep the air and the oxygen flowing through the body. Good, down on the in, lift, lift, and out. Now, stick with this if it's enough, or we're going to try lifting both together. Drop the heels and press up. Come down, lift both heels, and then press up. So you know what's coming next, maybe if you've been a regular in any of my actual in-person classes. We're going to try now pushing up without the heels on the ground. Down, lift the heels, press up, arms back, drop down. Sink into your squat, lift the heels, press up, arms back, drop down. Now if this is too much, you just don't do it, you just stick to the heels on the ground and do the ordinary squats. It's completely up to you. So let's do 3 more. Last one, lift, up, arms back, and down. Brilliant. Okay, so grab a quick drink if you need to. Sometimes these squats can get tough, but I want you to remember that you're completely in control. If you want to stick to the lower level, then please do. But I always like to offer the progressions so that those of you who want to push yourself a bit more can. And also if you're doing the video multiple times, hopefully you'll start to see a progression in what you're able to do. Okay, so we're going to bring the feet back to that wide stance now, and we're going to do this lovely heel lift sequence with the legs in this position as well. Okay, so standing tall to begin with, shoulders back. Now breathe in, come down into your wide squat. Knees in line with your hips. Hold here, lift one heel and lower, lift the other heel and lower, and then press up. Arms back, nice stretch across the chest, squeeze over your shoulders. Good, again, down, lift, lift, press up. Brilliant. Trying to marry the breath with the movement, but please don't get too hung up on that, just keep breathing. Good. Okay, now we're going to try lifting both heels together. Lift, lower, press back up. Stay here if this is enough, or if you want the extra challenge. Let's try pressing up from the tiptoes. Wibbly wobbly, wibbly wobbly, and lower. Down, lift the heels, stand up, arms back, lower the heels. Good. Just a few more. And last couple. Brilliant, well done. And then a nice little shake out of the legs. Good. Okay, then just come back to feet at that shoulder width or hip width distance apart. Another little bit of rocking backwards and forwards on your heels and your toes. And we're going right back to where we began. Good, then just balance on one foot, lift the other, and let's repeat those circles of the ankles, inwards and outwards. Good, and then swap over to the other side. Lift the knee, circles of the ankle in one direction and then the other. Good, then some nice hip circles again. Let's do 4 on each leg. There's a nice click. And the other leg. Three and 4. Good. Bring your feet to shoulder width apart. Rolls backwards of the shoulders just to realign the spine. Then bring the hands down either side of the body and come back into those nice little side bends. See if you can go a little bit further each time. How far down the leg can you reach? Can you reach your knee? Can you even reach beyond the knee? Good, then shoulders back. Nice breath in. On your out breath, come down into a roll down. Feeling the spine falling forwards. Breathe in at the bottom. Breathe out as you curl back to upright. Restacking the bones, one on top of the other, shoulders back. Breathe in. Breathe out, roll down. We'll do 2 more of these. Good, last one. And shoulders back. Good, then heels together, toes apart into your nice V position of the feet, hands across onto the opposite shoulder. On your out breath, you twist over to one side, breathe in through the center, breathe out, twist. One more to each side. Good, and then arms down by the side, bring your feet back to the hip width distance. Breathe in, reach the arms all the way up to the ceiling. And then on your out breath, a nice big circle back down. Couple more. Brilliant, and that is you finished. So hopefully a bit of strength in the old legs for the day and a bit of mobility in your spine. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.